it back because Game 6 is tonight. I want to hear the music. Thank you. I want to see the guys dance into the hoop because Klay Thompson has had some Game 6s, people. In 2016, this is the one facing elimination in Oklahoma City, buried a record playoff 11 threes in a win that eventually led to a comeback from 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Then we had last year against Houston. Klay stepping up big again, 35 points at home in an elimination game. He only hit 9 threes in that one, guys.
Slacking.
Ridiculous. And then just last month, the second round of these playoffs, after KD went down in the previous game, Klay dropped 27 points, really carried the team in the first half because Steph Curry scored 0 points and made sure they got to a second half where Steph could then take over, and they beat Houston on the Rockets' own floor to advance to the Western Conference Finals. So, Brian, we brought you to the desk. What do you expect from Klay tonight?
This has been a great series for Klay Thompson. I know that the hamstring injury, he missed the game. People are focused on that. His last 3 minutes, we've talked about that timeout so much. The last 3 minutes of Game 5, he gets 2 3-pointers and plays 3 great possessions of defense on Kawhi Leonard. He shot the ball brilliantly the entire series. It's been a vintage Klay series. I expect a vintage Game 6 tonight. I don't know if we're going to see 9 threes, but I think he's going to bring it.
We better see 9 threes. Or
they're going home.
Toronto's going to close Oracle down. I don't expect anything different from Klay. I mean, this guy's a performer. When the pressure's on, he steps up to the plate. I'm not worried about Klay. I'm not worried about Steph. I'm worried about these other guys.
What are you worried about?
I'm worried that Draymond Green is going to be open. He's not going to take these shots. He's going to be hesitant. He's going to be hesitant to pass the ball and try to get these guys the shots coming off the big man screens. Iguodala, I'm afraid he's going to be open and not make the shots. These other guys are going to have to play well, make open jumpers in order for them to go back to Toronto. Because Klay and Steph, I think, can get you 60 points between the two. But you got to get some help.
58 in Game 5.
But 60 points aren't going to win a basketball game by
Right.
themselves. So as Tracy said, the other guys got to. I just want to ask you real quick: when you are a shooter, the way you were, the way Klay is, when you are a scorer, when you go into a game like this and you know your team needs you, you can't have an off night.
No.
What is your how do you mentally approach a game like this?
Were you so locked in? And I used to play a game. Me, before I went to the arena, I've already played the game in my head where I want my shots. Absolutely. So when I'm in those positions, I know what to expect on any defense that is being thrown at me. Right now, it's not about execution. It's not about defense. It's about who's going to minimize turnovers and who's going to make shots.
Right.
And I believe these two guys being the best shot makers in history, they're going to make shots.
No
I'm not
behind-the-back
them.
passes for Steph.
No, please
Even
don't.
if they're wide open, just don't even try.
I'm sure Steve Kerr has mentioned that to him. I want to get to one of those other guys you were just mentioning, DeMarcus Cousins. Now, he had an excellent Game 5, really in a game where if Kevin Durant had stayed healthy, I don't think we would have seen Boogie much.
I don't think at all.
Instead, boom, comes in under a lot of pressure, 11 points, 6 boards off the bench, surpassing his points total from Games 3 and 4 combined. So he's been uneven in this series, Mac, which we would expect. He's coming off a big injury after coming off another huge injury. Which Boogie do you expect him?
Well, you said something there when KD started that game. Boogie was going to get a DMP.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't going to play. So think about mentally how you have to make that adjustment, knowing that you probably won't play this game. And then you get thrown into the fire. Like, you got to readjust your mindset. And he goes in there and he plays extremely well. I expect Boogie to carry that confidence over tonight because they're going to need him. Who knows what, Looney status is going to be. Not having KD, he's going to have to, have some of that scoring pressure on his shoulders. He's going to have to do a great job of rebounding and playing great defense on two guys that has been pretty dominant in this series, in Gasol and Ibaka. So I think he's going to step up to the plate and play well.
Something I can't explain, Rachel. DeMarcus Cousins has been so much better on the road this season than at home. His numbers are crazy how much better he is on the road. They need road DMC tonight and the 2 games he played well in this series, Game 2 and Game 5.
The plus minus, I know plus minus can sometimes be misleading, but it's striking.
But look even the points per game and the field goal percentage. the 2 games he played well, games 2 and game 5, those games were in Toronto. Also, those games he was sort of a surprise against the Raptors. He was a surprise starter in game 2, and then obviously a surprise adjustment in game 5. If the Raptors have a chance to prepare, and it's been in Oakland, he hasn't played that well. He's got to bring that road mentality.
Yeah.
I will say in one of those games, though, Vince Carter made the point on one of our shows last week. He said that Klay being out of that game 3, he said, had the most devastating effect, he thought, on Boogie of anyone because of where they were able to, pin down defensively and all of that stuff, and that by having Klay out there, it spaced the floor so much for Boogie.